Okay, so we're starting rehearsals for Drama Baby, and we're starting to get into characterisation. We've just been working on some bits and bobs. Abby, what have you been working on this week in terms of developing character or the piece?
This week I've made some decisions about my character's clothing. We were supposed to bring some costuming, but I forgot, so I've chosen some stuff off the rail. But I feel like what I've chosen works with my character.
How does it
quite
work
well.
with your character?
Well, she's quite insecure in some ways. She's still in the closet, so I've chosen like baggy jumper because she doesn't want attention from men.
And how are you going to develop that? What have you learned? How are you going to move on from where you are at the moment? Because obviously a jumper is just one little part of costume.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna.
Are you going to keep that jumper, or are you going to go for anything different?
I'm gonna see what I've got at home, but some stuff that will probably work. I'm gonna try some different outfits and mess around with.
Can you be a bit more specific with an idea for me?
I've got a denim jumpsuit at home, which I think would work quite well with a cardigan over the top, and maybe some like daps or something to go with it.
Okay. James?
This week I also feel like I've done a lot of like good work on character, like looking at clothing as well, because I've gone into a lot of character research. Like to do this, I've looked at sort of 90s characters and stuff like that. I sort of looked at the style they wore, but because my character's like gay and he's open about it, I thought I'd go like to some lengths, and I've made some definite decisions on like the clothing like I'm wearing now with this scarf and the bow tie, just because it stands out, and I guess like, I feel like my character would want to stand out, to take away from the fact of his sexuality, and like put all the attention on his clothing and style. But to progress, I think I'll look at more characters, and I think I'll pick a sort of role model that I can sort of base my sort of clothing on to really make a definite decision on what I'm going to wear and how they act and stuff like that in that sort of era.
Okay.
This week I worked on autonomy, when coming in on Wednesday and help us direct a scene, the one where they get their results, being one of the two people that knew what we had to do and helped other people find where they had to move to.
Do you mean in terms of blocking?
Blocking, yeah.
Okay. Did you employ any of the sort of Peter Brook techniques that we've been looking at in terms of playing with it, or was it just focusing on blocking?
Focusing on blocking and where people had to be, as in, because some people were trying to be more middle stage.
So what's a possible development then, Cal, for the next time you do something like that?
Character, and that I also work on how my character's going to be dressed.
Okay, but if you were to come in and help direct a scene again, is what I mean. So if you've kind of worked on blocking, how would you now develop that?
I would develop it by having the characters interact separately. So say, get two of the characters to be in a similar part situation, just with less friends around, to help people see where their characters would go.
Okay, thank you. Right.
Also on that Wednesday rehearsal which we worked on, we sort of autonomously worked on the party scene, looking at like transitions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think what was nice to reflect on the transitions are sort of the different stages of a party. For example, the first transition between time periods is the first starting of the drinking, everyone's excited, and then the next one's when everyone's sort of had a bit and they're all dancing and singing, and then towards the end we created one where we walk really slowly and sort of twisting and get onto the floor to sort of reflect the final stages of a party when everyone sort of gets serious, you know, and philosophical. And it was strong because we managed to autonomously come up with how we wanted to have like the time lapsing in the party scene.
Okay.
Today we worked on the second piece that we do in the play, so like the second group play, and we looked at the choreography of how it like all goes together. So me and George decided, in the script it says about the men changing into women's clothes and then the women changing into men's clothes, and we thought I come up with a good idea that maybe they should do like a ballroom dance as the opposite sex, like just to show, because it's about feminism in the script, like just taking that into consideration and what I know, they're quite anti-men, so I thought maybe just changing roles and like role reversal, because I know it says in the script about gender roles and how like it's a load of nonsense, so maybe by showing like that in the way we're dancing, it shows that. And we like played around with different ways, like Peter Brooks, different ideas that we could have used, like different pieces of music.
Okay.
This week I've done quite a lot of character research, which I haven't really explored yet, and sort of figured out how Mark's underlying objective in everything that he does is to get more out of Emily and like a sexual, like in sexual power and stuff. And I did quite a lot of autonomous work with Molly this week as well, like building up, because we've got to be quite close, I think, and it's got to come across on stage that we're a believable relationship. So we've been working well to get used to being around each other and getting like closer to working up to things like the kisses and like the slap.
Okay. All right, thanks for that, guys.